I'm feeling pretty good. Pretty good.
Well, okay, let's another Bender episode. We're back into this will be our first episode of the new season. We just concluded.
Is it?
Yeah, we just concluded last season with our best
Oh.
of 2020
That's true.
two-parter. Yeah,
I guess
that seems so long ago now.
It was a little bit. I didn't look at it like that because like we hadn't done one in so long.
Yeah, right.
But I guess it was technically.
Yeah, there's a lot of anticipation for our big cap-off episode for the season, but
yeah, I do feel like it's the start of something new.
yeah, I can just feel it in the air. Yeah, something's brewing.
The podcast. Yeah, I'm getting all tingly about the podcast possibilities and movie watching.
Yes. Ah, yes.
Judas and the Black Messiah and Adam Driver and Lady Gaga are going to be in a movie together.
Yeah, I saw that pic. Oh, yeah.
Everyone's sharing at it. That the sexy pic of Adam Driver and Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
In Gucci. What is it called? Gucci House?
Yeah.
I think it might be Gucci House.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be huge whenever that comes out.
Like Adam Driver, he like does everything. And then Lady Gaga is always in something like huge, and Adam Driver's just kind of doing another thing.
Yeah.
But this is like Lady Gaga's second thing.
Yeah, really. This is after A Star Is Born, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure, I'm sure this movie's going to be equally as.
I'm interested in what that's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like how she's going to be again, you know?
Yeah, because she was pretty natural in like A Star Is Born. Cause
I think she was. I think she was really good, and I think the role was right for her, you know?
Yeah, she's basically playing a version of herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like I was like after, I'm like, oh man, I'm dying to see how her acting career pans out necessarily.
Yeah, right. This season started off with another Bender episode, or sort of how, I guess, Luke's guide to surviving COVID. Yeah.
Because I had COVID and I watched a lot of things, so that's going to be like the running narrative of what I've been watching lately, and John's just going to be, normally his Bender is normal and normally healthy, and just business as usual.
Yeah, this is my Bender for when I was worried about Luke surviving COVID. Yeah.
Worried about you're still
took an emotional toll on
COVID.
Me too.
Yeah, and still worried about getting COVID yourself, probably. Yeah. Still in the pandemic wash your hands mode.
As a preventative measure, I stayed home and watched these movies.
Yeah.
So this is also my guide to surviving. Yeah.
We all are surviving COVID at the moment.
True. Why don't you start us off?
All right. So I'm starting at January 27th.
Oh, wow.
My first movie of having
Day
COVID.
one.
Yeah. Was so actually before this, I really quickly watched like Euphoria season 2, episode 2. I'll just like say I won't talk about it much. I don't even know if you watch Euphoria necessarily.
I don't, but I know about it.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know what I would tell you about it. You have to like be deep into it to tell you about it. But in relation to that, like Malcolm and Marie, I will be coming up on my movie Bender, considering it's the same director and actor. But yeah, so the first thing I watched when I had COVID was that. But the first actual like feature movie I watched was We Are Marshall, the McG football movie with Matthew McConaughey and Matthew Fox, Anthony Mackie, David Stratham, Kate Mara, January Jones. It's a very loaded cast.
Star-studded. Wow.
Yeah,
Forgot about that.
yeah, and I don't know if I have mentioned it that much, but I love the sports movie. Have I
Yeah,
mentioned that?
we talked about that last time. Yeah.
Probably a ton of times I've said that, but yeah, I love the sports movie. I think they're so ridiculous, but also like I don't know, they provide such great platforms for amazing actors to give like really like funny, memorable performances, and I don't know, just the repetitiveness and the like the goofy, inspirational shit of it. I just grew up with it, and I like it, and I've been trying to watch as many as possible. And this one has been on my list for a while because I was like I have to see like McConaughey as a coach. Like a football coach is like the
Hmm.
perfect role for him. Um, and at the same time, I've also been watching a lot of like 2000s McConaughey stuff this year. So I like know like what his career was like before. And I've seen a lot of like really bad rom-coms and a lot of very ridiculous things that I can't believe he did. And but We Are Marshall, on the other hand, I think he fits very well into this role, and just like is really uh, the best part of this movie, for sure. Um, and just the cast alone is the best part of this movie. There's a lot of like script problems and a lot of just very corny, just bad, corny bad drama about people not being able to get over the plane crash that the Miami football team goes through at the beginning, and whether they should continue football and all that stuff.
Hmm.
So that stuff gets a little corny, and like you're like, all right, that's bad screenwriting right there, stuff like that. But it is very worth it to watch like McConaughey and Matthew Fox and David Stratham and just this goofy football movie. And Anthony Mackie has some really crazy moments of acting too. So yeah, I definitely would recommend We Are Marshall if you're ever feeling that sort of thing, John. It's on HBO Max.
Well, I've seen. I saw We Are Marshall in the theaters actually back in the
Oh
day.
shit!
Yeah,
Lucky.
yeah. It was amazing. What a cinematic experience. Oh, I did used to love We Are Marshall back in the day, and
Yeah,
I think I'd seen a little bit of it since then, and
yeah,
I didn't really like it that much. I
yeah.
didn't like. We talked about this a little bit last time too. I'm sometimes like iffy on sports movies, especially when they're sappy. Like it's hard for me to even ironically get into them sometimes.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
you have to go. I go full. Just not serious at all.
but sports movies as a whole, I still enjoy watching.
You don't. Are You're not a fan of the Disney sports movies?
No, I don't really care for Remember the
Okay.
Titans.
I
Mighty Ducks is
I
okay.
absolutely love Remember the Titans.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not that I have like I just think they're just god awful and I hate them. It's really hard for me to get into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether or not I'm serious or being ironic about it. Yeah.
Hmm. So, anyways, that's
But
We
yeah.
Are Marshall.
Okay, well then I'll go with my sports movie, which I just teased a little bit for mine. I watched He Got Game recently.
Ah, I've been
Spike
thinking about
Lee.
rewatching that lately.
Yeah, and this is the type of sports movie that I like too, I guess. This is very you know, real story about a father and son.
Yeah.
And it's
Hmm.
not just and it's more of a personal story than just about the town coming together to support the team or something like that. That this is more along the lines of something that I'd be into. But yeah, I really loved He Got Game. Denzel is obviously great in it. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I thought it really did a good job of, I don't know, painting a picture of this young basketball player who has family issues, and he's also a huge star. I think it's easy to
Hmm.
empathize with because that's
Yeah.
yeah. And I thought Ray Allen was pretty good. There were some times where I felt like man, this is just Ray
This
Allen.
is Ray Allen.
Yeah. But then other times, I didn't think he was. I thought he was pretty good for not acting in anything ever.
It adds
you know?
points for me that it's like Ray Allen in it, even though he's
Yeah.
not like amazing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's still cool
Yeah.
that Spike Lee actually used actual NBA player who wasn't too far off from being a high school basketball player and everything. So he got
Yeah,
game.
classic movie.
Yeah, great.
All right. And, so here's something to bring up. So I don't know if you remember, in the number 32 of my list of the last episode, I brought up a movie called Lockdown
Oh yeah,
for our 2020 list.
Yeah.
Well, I found out, I think maybe a week later, or I realized at least, that Lockdown is a 2021 movie.
That's funny you bring that up because I realized Pretend It's a City, which was on my list too, is a 2021 show too.
All right, at least we're even then.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny too because like I decided to do an extra movie on my list, one more than you, and I brought that one up.
Yeah, the one that didn't even count.
Yeah, what a dumbass thing to do.
Oh man.
But the next movie I watched on my COVID bender is Lockdown. Which is kind of funny because it's like I'm not clearly why I wasn't going for like quality in my first two runs of having COVID.
Yeah,
I was just trying to see
doing anything.
Yeah, I was really up for whatever, and I think I just wanted to see new things that were on HBO Max because I just had it pulled up on my laptop. Okay, my next thing I watched would be the special Larry David Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh man, I have not seen this yet, and I don't know why. Yeah.
It's something I just still couldn't believe I hadn't seen, and I won't say it's not a necessary watch at all, but it's really interesting if you want to I don't know, if you're trying to see the whole evolution of how Curb Your Enthusiasm became the show it is, because this is really him these guys starting at the ground level of just the improvising situational comedy stuff and what Larry David's on camera persona is. So I would say this is a very much a less funny, more dry, more awkward version of the show Curb Your Enthusiasm, and it's kind of based around the idea of Larry David going back to do a stand-up special and stuff like that. But still, I still think it's good and worth watching. Yeah. Also, HBO Max.
Nice. So far, you during your COVID quarantine,
it was all HBO.
HBO.
Yeah. Yep. I made an account and a list, and just got going.
Nice. All right, I'll go next with. You know what? For whatever I said about sports movies, I watched a couple of sports movies in the past month. But I liked He Got Game a lot. This next one I watched was okay. It's John McEnroe in the Realm of Perfection. Don't know if you've heard of this. I think it was on the Criterion Channel. But it's a documentary about John McEnroe, and I really didn't know anything about it going into it. Don't even really know anything about the director. Looks like he's done a documentary on volleyball before too. But yeah, so this was basically an analysis of John McEnroe at the French Open in 1984. And I just been watching the Australian Open, so I was all hyped up on tennis. I was like, I want to watch a tennis movie. Which I'm sure everyone was thinking too. So yeah. This one looks.
It's the only mindset to be in February or late January.
Exactly. Yeah. It's tennis season mindset right there. But I like John McEnroe, and he's like a pundit, on ESPN when they show the Grand Slams and everything. So started watching this, and it from the get-go I was like, hell yes, this
Mm,
tennis, man, this is
mm-hmm.
sick. And it's just like this slow-mo of John McEnroe tossing out the ball for a serve, and this like Sonic Youth song in the background just building up and building up. And then like the title card shows, and I was like, holy shit, this is gonna be awesome. And then it's pretty much just like throughout
The
the rest of
match.
the movie, it's just like the same thing over and over again. So it's weird because there's it's just showing uh different matches from the French Open that John
Yeah.
McEnroe's in that year, and there's a
Is it
narrator
is it
over
filmed
it.
all like cinematically?
It is. So
Yeah.
it looks amazing, especially when they're on court.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's sort of commentary on John McEnroe as he you know, his play style and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
that is definitely interesting, especially as someone who really enjoys tennis. But it got to a point where it was just sort of it just felt like the same thing over and over again. And there's only so much like John McEnroe screaming about like where the ball landed and the ball mark. Like he really at
Yeah.
the end of it, I just hated John McEnroe because he just complains so much. But yeah, this I would only recommend to people who are really into tennis because besides like the first 15 minutes, you'd probably lose a lot of interest. But yeah, it was all right. Yeah, if you want to see some cool cinematic tennis, then that's the doc
Cinematic
for you.
tennis. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, it might change your life. Who knows?
I really do like Kobe doing work. I don't know if you've
Oh
watched
yeah,
that yet, but the way it's like cinematic basketball and just like POV of Kobe, like that stuff. I love that.
no, yeah, that's cool. That's I would definitely recommend Kobe doing work over over this one.
Cool. So my next flick would be a movie I know you've seen, Ocean's 8.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, 2018. So just never saw it when it came out, and it was always like in my mind. Well, what was more in my mind was definitely to like get more into oceans in general. So like in the
Mhm.
past couple of years, I've like watched Ocean's 11 a couple times, then I watched like Ocean's 12 and Ocean's 13. Um, all that I would say are just like more worth watching than Ocean's 8, but I still had to, watch Ocean's 8 because I really didn't know. I didn't really know the general consensus on it. I thought like most people liked it, and I kind of felt very just mixed and strange when I watched this movie. And I think like overall, I don't think I liked it. But like
I'm with you. Yeah.
but when it started, I was kind of like, oh, this is kind of cool, like this got that oceans vibe and stuff. And it got going, and I was still kind of enjoying it. But I don't know. Once it ended, I was like, nah.
Yeah. I never really got into it. I didn't really care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's just something like it's just so much more artificial about like the heist personas of all the females in
Yeah.
comparison to Soderbergh's Oceans, like all of them, like you can feel like just so much more immersion in the characters and like that in all of the men, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I felt like that a lot of them were pretty bland or just
oh
way too
yeah,
focused on
oh
the
yeah,
characters. Like Kate
yeah,
Blanchett, what a the cast is great too. And then like
yeah,
Kate Blanchett, I remember her character being like totally plain and
yeah.
having
It's
nothing
just
interesting to do, really.
really not doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt that way too. And there's just some, it's just all off, you know what I mean? Like they're trying to
Hmm.
replicate Oceans, but it's all off. Like the blocking of like all the actors is like laughable in comparison to like the blocking of Ocean's 11, for instance. Like all those men just like for instance, like Matt Damon, he's an incredible on camera just walker. Like when you walk with Matt Damon in a movie, you are like with him. Like his stride is just, perfect for big movies.
Hmm.
Same thing with like Brad Pitt and stuff. And it's just that and like Soderbergh's camera work, and the lighting and stuff, and Vegas, there's just so much off.
Yeah.
But I also think, I don't know, I think maybe I'm comparing them too much, because like I think genuinely this movie alone, I have a lot of quarrels with it. Not that it just stands in the shadow of those movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't Sandra Bullock like George Clooney's sister?
Yeah. Cousin maybe, or sister.
Cousin?
Yeah. Yeah. And I just didn't think she was that that great in the movie. I genuinely didn't.
I remember a weird scene where I think she visits his like grave or something.
Yeah, she
like
does.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I just remember that being weird. For some reason.
Yeah, it just feels like, I don't know, it's all off. Like they got all these women to just be in this, just to be in this. It wasn't like they just were like, oh, Rihanna's famous, Aquafina's famous,
Yeah. Who's who right now?
It very much feels like a curated like cast, and like not like, not in the right way necessarily. It's like more producer centric.
Yeah, makes sense.
But I'd also say maybe it's a quality flick, even though it's very flawed and not good.
Maybe, yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely didn't hate it, but
yeah, me neither. And there's way worse movies out. It's just, I had some quarrels.
Yeah, if you're into Ocean's 8, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no. Personally, just wasn't that into it.
Yeah. All right.
Well, that was good. I needed to get that out. Those thoughts.
All right, then I'll move on to my next one, which was a movie you've seen, Weekend, the Jean-Luc Godard.
Jean-Luc
Godard, yeah.
Jean.
So this year I'm trying to get myself to watch more of these like art house foreign films that I've been sleeping on for a while.
Yeah.
That are all on like Criterion Channel or HBO Max now.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, at some point I just gotta sit down and watch some of these.
All of them.
Yes. And there's plenty
you'll never get through as many as you think.
No way. Yeah. No.
Like I've been trying. Like I think I watched a Fellini a few weeks ago, and I watched another Fellini last night, just remembering, oh yeah, I said I was going to watch Fellini.
Yeah, you definitely need to mix it up though, because
because you are purely watching for like, you are getting a very, very pleasant, very beautiful experience most of the time, but you are also watching for like not really like pleasure or like relaxation. You are watching for like higher
research.
I know, it's an insane thing to do. You're watching for higher understanding.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like no one's gonna give a shit that you like watched like Jean-Luc Godard movie.
Yeah,
no
exactly.
one. In fact, they'd prefer you like didn't tell them.
Yeah, why? Yeah.
Like, exactly. What are you saying? What are you saying, you weirdo? You're
yeah. Who cares? That's exactly the reaction. And so I mean, I it's almost like research. Yeah, it feels like work. And when I watched this, I was in a mindset of, I was like, man, I really feel like tonight I just want to watch like a couple, back to back, like more artsy films like this. And then as soon as Weekend was over, I was like, no, I got to watch something completely different now.
Well, isn't Weekend very long?
Weekend, it's not too long. It's under 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember it feeling long, at least.
That's what I was just gonna say. Yeah, it did feel long though, and boy, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's so like hypnotic and shit. I think it just like, kind of puts you in a weird trance.
Yeah. And I liked Breathless, which I think was the first Godard movie I'd seen, and I didn't like. It wasn't like, I didn't think it was amazing. At least it didn't like resonate so much with me. But I liked the music in it. And it was kind of
cool, and it's got a lot of cool footage of cars in Paris.
Yeah. It's fine. Yeah, it's yeah. So I was expecting this to be, something that I'd just like find at least enjoyable. But especially, I was interested when I read the plot description, which is about like cannibalism and murder, and I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna get into some stuff here. But yeah, overall, I felt like Weekend was a little bit too much of like beating me over the head with political and societal like issues that Godard has that for the most part I'm like in agreement with,
Yeah,
that maybe back in the 60s it was more of like felt new, but to me I felt like at this point I just didn't really care to hear what he had to say, because it felt like a lot of just a lot of the characters are just sort of explaining his theories on a lot of things, which just got kind of tired and long for me. And I feel like the audience that he pictured for this movie are never going to watch this movie. I can't see any like big right wing fascists sitting down to watch a new wave French film. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. It felt super long to me, and I just wasn't really into it. But I did still think it was like beautifully shot, and there's some scenes that I really loved, like the traffic jam scene, which is so long, and
yeah,
it's just
incredibly long one. Yeah, that's
yeah,
mainly the main thing I remember
yeah,
from it. Yeah, because that scene was crazy. But yeah, I'm not into Weekend either. Mainly because when I watched it, I just really didn't get it. Honestly, I just kind of walked away from it like feeling like, what did I just watch?
mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of like really cool things in it, just like the traffic thing is like all time. That's like an all time like movie moment, that you could put on some list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. It was definitely, I mean, obviously really well made and some cool stuff in it. But yeah, overall, I just thought it was kind of a slog for me.
I watched Godard's Contempt once, and I thought it was like the most pretentious thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, this is kind of amazing, but I also don't really get what's going on.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Yeah, so
With that said, though, I did the other day I did watch Pierrot Le Fou, the Godard
oh yeah,
film.
I saw that. I haven't seen that, but since you like it, I'm gonna check that out for
That
sure.
one I did really like. Yeah.
Yeah,
I won't talk too much about that because, yeah,
it's coming up.
yeah, it'll come up. But yeah, I did like
Yeah.
that.
Okay, my next movie. This is an interesting one.
Ooh,
I watched. Actually rewatched Steven Spielberg's Hook,
Hook, yeah.
which
All right.
I think we probably mentioned it one time during our Spielberg summer series.
Yeah.
And I thought I had never seen Hook, but when I watched Hook while I had COVID, I realized, holy shit, I've totally seen this when I was a kid. Just, really little, and I saw it like one time, but and I didn't really know what was going on, but I just remember thinking it was amazing as a kid, like especially like the last fight between Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman, I just thought it was amazing. How could you're a kid?
Yeah, it was one of my favorite movies growing up. Yeah.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Yeah. And on rewatch, like when this movie began, I thought like, dude, this is amazing. Yeah, I really did. I thought everything it was going for of like Peter Pan growing up and all that stuff and becoming like a 9-to-5, just work obsessive father. I thought that was actually really well done in the beginning, and him having to like find him in denial about like his whole like childhood, the fact that he doesn't remember anything.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, his childhood that went on for, who knows how long his childhood went on for. And then he goes back to Neverland, and then he starts to like meet all the kids in Neverland, and that's when the movie kind of took a dip for me a lot. I started to be like, oh my God, this is awful, this is unbearable, blah, blah, blah. And then it kind of like picked back up again towards the end in like the last 20 to 30 minutes or so. So it was definitely up and down. Overall, I don't know if I would even call this good, because there's so much bad parts that make it a slog. I would say it's like way too long. But there's also just so much good things in it as well. Like, for instance, how committed every person is in their role. Like Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman and Julia Roberts are just do a really good job in this, despite the obvious like weirdness of it. Like Julia Roberts being Tinkerbell, for instance.
Yeah.
But you get good things out of it because it's Spielberg, even though this is one of his weirder ones, it still is magical.
Yeah, this is a super weird movie, but
It is.
I have a soft spot in my heart for it.
Same.
Because my sister and I used to watch it all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's 2.5 hours long. Like, that is insane for this movie.
Yeah.
This movie of all movies to be that long.
Yeah. I appreciated the movie, but yeah, took up some time for sure. Especially I'm telling you, that middle section, some of those things I wish I just hadn't seen.
Yeah, it's there's still some weird stuff in it that just makes me think it's for sure like of its time. It's very 1991. Yeah. Yeah, nice. I'm glad you revisited Hook.
Yep.
Okay, next one I'll do. This is I'm gonna knock out 4 in 1 right here, because we talked about this a little bit last time too, but I've been on a documentary kick, which I even just talked about another documentary, the John McEnroe one. But in the past month, I've seen 3 different Bob Dylan documentaries. And yeah.
I think I saw you watching Bob Dylan documentaries on Letterboxd, and I just but I didn't realize it was 3 times. I think I just thought I was having deja vu or some of it like that. Oh, it's like it's just the same thing.
Yeah. So I watched 3 different 2 or 4 music documentaries in total. The first of which was Monterey Pop by D.A. Pennebaker, which last year
I still want to see that one.
Yeah, last year I remember you talking about D.A. Pennebaker, and I was like, oh, I gotta watch those. And now it took me a year to get to it.
I could see myself on the podcast with John. You go to see D.A. Pennebaker.
Yeah, it's like, who the hell? Yeah, and seeing Monterey Pop, that was a good introduction to his style and everything. It's very much you're just like an observer of what's going on at this festival. I thought it was super interesting. I'm definitely very into that stuff, just sort of being a fly on the wall that was sort of my introduction to D.A. Pennebaker. Then the other Dylan ones I watched were his one, Don't Look Back, and then the 2 Scorsese ones. First one I watched was Rolling Thunder Review, which is the most recent one. And all 3 of these Bob Dylan documentaries are very different styles from each other. I thought for some reason I've been listening to a lot of Bob Dylan lately. I'm a casual Bob Dylan fan, not a huge.
You're not obsessive.
I don't know everything about him. I've seen him live, and just because he was on the same concert as Wilco and My Morning Jacket.
It's because you're not deep enough, John. That's why you're not full Dylan.
Yeah, no, I'm not a huge Dylan head. Yeah. But I really like, with that said, I really like Dylan, but I don't know every song that he has, but
me neither.
Yeah, but I love these documentaries about him. And
you watched 3.
And there's some of his music I really really like, and there's a lot of it that I just feel like okay about, so I just
It's
haven't
the
gotten as
same.
into it. Yeah, so Rolling
Like, do you
Thunder.
like? Is it '60s Dylan? Do you like, or do you like '70s Dylan?
See, I like a little bit. I like a little bit of both. I really like. I can't think of the name of the album, but it has like "Blown in the Wind" and "Don't Think Twice, It's All Right." He's like
Yeah,
walking
that's like
down
a
the
six.
street with the
That's a
girl.
'60s one. Yeah,
That
that's
was
like,
like his
yeah,
second
exactly.
album, and then the other album I really like of his is the one where it's like I can't think of any of the names of these albums, but it's like purple, and it's like a drawn version of his face from the side profile, and like "Shelter of the Storm," "Tangled Up in Blue" is on it. Those are the two albums I
Blood
listen
on the
to most.
Tracks.
Yeah, "Blood on the Tracks." That's
Yeah,
it.
that
Yeah,
one's good.
I listen
That
to
one's
those
good.
two more than his other albums.
Mm.
Um,
I
yeah.
like New Morning a lot. Have you heard that
Let's
one?
see, I gotta.
It's got that Big Lebowski song
Oh
that
yes, yeah,
opens up the movie.
yeah.
So
I love that
that's a
song. Yeah.
good, yeah, yeah, who doesn't? So
La
that's
la
a good
la la
album.
la. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. La 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 la
La
la
la
la
la
la.
la la.
Um
Yeah.
and I don't know, I like Blonde on Blonde and Highway 61 Revisited. Man, he
Oh,
has what
Highway
did he
61
had?
Revisited. Yeah. Okay. I love Bob Dylan. Yeah.
That's like rock and roll Bob Dylan. Wow, what, yeah, I'm like looking through, I'm like, what an incredible career of
Yeah.
the
I think a big reason is just it's like intimidating with how much of like a
there
catalog he has.
and how much different stuff
Yeah.
and
So
how and how it's all like deep.
yeah. So I really there's a lot of Bob Dylan songs that I listen to all the time, but it's usually like the same, select like 10 songs.
Yeah. So
But
I think
I'm trying to get more into him, I guess.
like before I had seen Don't Look Back, I don't think I was necessarily as into the album The Times Are Changing.
Mm-hmm.
But after I saw Don't Look Back, I was definitely into that album because I think that's like that the doc shows him like in that space, you know?
Yeah. And it starts out with him doing it's the like video for Subterranean Homesick Blues where
Yeah.
he's flipping through like the posters, whatever.
Hmm.
That's a really cool
Yeah.
scene, yeah.
That's what, like, seriously, it's one of my favorite documentaries. Um,
Same.
I don't know. How did you rank the documentaries you just saw?
So out of the three of them, Don't Look Back was definitely my favorite. I just loved how it was just, I
It's like
felt like I was there,
it's so intimate. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
so
very
intimate.
intimate, and
Yeah,
yeah, like I said before, like just being a fly on the wall, seeing all these things, like the negotiation with his manager and the booker when he's trying to get these shows in England, and the different conversations they're having on the phone, basically trying to like manipulate down to a better price.
hmm
I thought that was really fascinating. Like Bob Dylan, drunk and yelling at people about like who threw that bottle, or like someone threw a bottle out the window of the hotel, and there's like
yeah,
this big group. Then it's like this isn't like scripted or anything. This is just observing Bob Dylan get pissed off
yeah.
at all these people, and the press interviews are really interesting. He comes across as
Yeah.
kind of a dick sometimes, for
He's
sure.
like incredibly like pretentious and like
Yeah,
so in the clouds of just being like an artist and stuff.
exactly.
But he like pulls it off well and
Yeah.
really kind of uh I don't know, turns it on like the journalist. It feels like, I don't know, I'm like watching like Marlon Brando in an interview with like a different version of it, because
Yeah.
Brando is incredibly pretentious, but also you're also like, oh, it's but because he knows what he's talking about. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
right.
Like,
Yeah.
because he knows everything. They're
Yeah.
geniuses, you know. So yeah, I love that shit. Like I was walking around like trying to like think like Bob Dylan the rest of the day. I'm pretty sure it
Yeah.
put me into this weird like headspace.
Yeah. I mean, of like the past 100 years, he's easily one of the most influential, biggest names in pop culture. Uh, yeah, it's of modern history. He's one of the biggest people there is. So, yeah, he's just on a different wavelength. And
Yeah.
there's every scene of the D.A. Pennebaker one, it's like there's something to like take away or something very
Hmm.
fascinating. Just
Yeah.
when
And I
they're
love
like
just
back,
watching him write music.
yes, when he's just on his typewriter and like Joan Baez
Hmm.
is singing and
I was just like, this is chill as fuck.
like nothing
Like
was
this is
really
how they
happening,
live.
but yeah, it was so
Hmm.
interesting. Yeah. So I love that like slice of life type thing.
Yeah.
That was really cool. And then the Scorsese ones I liked a lot too. No Direction Home was definitely more of like a basic interview style, like a lot of talking heads and it's super long too. This one took me a couple days to finish, but it's probably,
Do they get to 4 hours?
I think it's 3.5, almost
Yeah.
4. It's almost 4, yeah. But I really liked No Direction Home, but yeah, it wasn't as interesting to me because Don't Look Back is I thought very unique. And then
Yeah.
same with Rolling Thunder
Scorsese
Review.
ones are more like by the book documentary.
Except for Rolling Thunder Review, that one it's more of still a documentary, but there's a scripted element to it too.
Okay.
Yeah. Um,
I guess I had to be there.
yeah, it's once you watch it, I think you'll
Yeah,
understand. But
yeah. I
yeah,
know. I kind of do. I just don't know how to word that.
me
It's like
neither.
an experimental sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is. But yeah, out of all of those, I really loved Don't Look Back. And yeah, I could watch that on repeat. Just super, super interesting. And yeah, now I have a newfound appreciation for like that style of documentary.
Yeah, that's cool. 3 Bob Dylan
Yeah.
documentaries.
Yeah. So now I've been listening to a lot of Bob Dylan lately because of that. So
Yeah,
yeah.
no, that's cool. You're in the West Coast Bay Area. It's a perfect place to be doing that.
Yeah.
All right, so my next movie is considered to be one of the best motion pictures ever made,
Oh
and
boy.
took me forever to see it, but I finally watched Gone with the Wind.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, how long is Gone with the Wind,
This one's
John?
like
It is
4 hours too, I think.
233 minutes.
That is
It's got pause
that's
for math.
that's like just short of 4 hours.
Yep,
I
incredibly
think.
long.
Wow.
It's incredibly long. It's an epic in southern in the South of the Civil War South, and kind of like that, whole plantation region, the Civil War South. Um, so like this movie has like very clear like it's like political issues. Like for instance, like HBO Max didn't have it for a little bit because of
Really?
well, yeah, because it's mainly due to like the treatment of African Americans in this movie, and
Oh,
also um, just like the main character. I think it mostly has to do with like the main characters just all being slavers.
yeah, it's on a plantation.
Um,
Yeah. I guess I didn't
yeah,
even realize
yeah,
that.
and the main character, Scarlett O'Hara. Scarlett O'Hara.
Oh, yes. Yes.
She kind of yells at. I noticed that she kind of yells at her African American slaves a lot in this movie, and is kind of mean to them. Just kind of in like a spoiled, like, "Go get me this! I want to be rich again" type thing. So like that's kind of like that's like an immediate kind of like thing.
Turn off.
Turn off in this movie is just like
Yeah.
that the characters are kind of shitty in a way.
Racist assholes.
Yeah, yeah, and they're all like rich and shit, and um, but at the same time, this movie is just like very well made
Yeah.
and done, and so you also see why you're supposed to have seen it and why it's so well regarded and was such a big deal at the time, that I don't know, you're able to like look past it, but you don't really forget about it ever. You know what I mean? The film doesn't, because the characters are who they are the whole
Mhm.
time. But this is like, I don't know. It's a just almost, other than that, all other than the political issues, this is like kind of a perfect film.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I still haven't seen it, but yeah, I'm aware of its significance. But
it's
yeah,
a big deal.
it's yeah, it is. Yeah.
I think there's also like a lot of I've read stories on just the making of this movie and how much like the producer like David Selznick put into it, and how it was like such a big launching point of his career, uh and just such a big deal for movies at the time, to a point where like the studios weren't they had never put like that much into a movie before, or something like that, like the scale. And um I don't know, it's just like a daring point for the movie business at the time, I think. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's cool for that. And I also like how you've been saying you want to watch more French New Wave. I've been wanting to watch more 30s movies
Oh.
lately.
Mhm. Yeah. Maybe if I get COVID, then that'll be one of my
You'll
quarantine
probably
watches.
watch
So
Gone with the Wind if you have COVID.
yeah, exactly. Nice. All right. All right. My next one I'll go with is Multiple Maniacs, John Waters movie, which is on HBO Max and Criterion Channel. Um, but yeah, so Multiple Maniacs, I no idea what to expect really. Hadn't seen John Waters movie, so this is my
Mhm.
first one. I don't think so, at least. Um, and yeah, it's my first one.
I don't think
And
I've seen a John Waters movie.
yeah, I've been trying to see more of his, but I feel like this is the only one that I'm aware of that's streaming right now. But yeah, I now I can totally sort of grasp his style more. I've seen some interviews with John Waters, so I know at least basic info about him and his career, I guess. But yeah, Multiple Maniacs, no idea what to expect, and it's a very weird, funny, surreal, just ridiculous movie that is really hard to explain. There's some
Okay.
scenes that felt like um yeah, they almost felt like some like random comedy sketch. And I can't believe that certain things happened in certain scenes too. I don't want to give anything away, because I was genuinely like there are a few things that happened that I was super excited that happened because of how weird they were and how nobody could have expected that something like that to happen. But yeah, it's at the same time it's a little um it was definitely confusing for me to watch too. I wasn't always certain who was who and what was going on. Felt like a lot of people were just sort of coming in and out of the movie, and there wasn't really like an introduction to their character, so you just kind of had to go along with it. But yeah, it follows Lady Divine, who was this drag queen back in the day, who I think um, she did a lot of movies with John Waters. And yeah, it basically it follows a story of her, and there's murder and uh freak show, weird stuff. And yeah, I don't even know how to describe it that much, but I enjoyed it overall. I hope that there's maybe other John Waters movies that I can get into a little more. So I had a hard time just like paying attention because of the audio points too. It's very like organic and natural, and there's a lot of background noise that was a bit distracting for me. And maybe it was intentional, maybe it was because it's sort of a low budget type movie, but it did bother me a little bit that um just the sound in general. But yeah, I'm hoping to get more into John Waters and see what he's all about. But yeah, I would recommend Multiple Maniacs though. It's an experience.
He made Serial Mom. I think people like that.
Serial Mom. See, Crybaby is the big one that and Pink Flamingos are I guess the big ones that I've heard about to watch of his. But yeah, I don't know anything about where they're streaming. So
Yeah, I don't really know any of his other films either, but now I know about Multiple
yeah,
Maniacs.
yeah, he's an interesting guy. So yeah, I would check it out.
Nice. Another director to the list.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, so my next thing's a stand-up special.
All right.
And it's definitely one of my favorite stand-up specials that I've watched in a little bit. It is Fred Armisen's Stand Up for Drummers.
Oh, nice.
I liked this a lot. It was about as good as it could have been, in my opinion. I don't think, as long as you're someone who has like been a musician at least before, to me, and also or is just immersed in music, I think this is something you'll just love. Like it's great.
Mhm.
There's just so much brilliant just like impressions of like drummers, like he does like every drumming style starting from like the 30s, or something like that, like
Mhm.
30s till the 2000s. He has all these bids about playing in a band. He like just a great, like just really funny like musical impressions, just like impressions using instruments, stuff like that. And just he has great observations of like I don't of music in general, and just like he plays music sometimes, like jazz, and oh, he'll stop it and he'll be like, okay, so what was the melody? He was like, what was the melody in there? Do you remember? Does anyone remember? And everyone's like, no one remembers it, because jazz is so crazy and all over the place, and improvisational and abstract and stuff. It's just so great. And Fred Armisen is just, he is just brilliant in everything he does. So I'm not surprised at all that he's great. He was great at this too. And probably one of the best things he does is he does like impressions of like almost like not every state,
I've
but
seen that.
almost,
Yeah.
like,
Uh-huh.
yeah. And it's fantastic.
Mhm.
So yeah, just overall highly recommend. I had a great time with Stand Up for Drummers.
Nice. I probably watched this soon. I totally forgot this existed. And haven't watched it. Yeah. But I love Fred Armisen too, and pretty much everything he does. So yeah, I'll check that out. And I remember seeing when this came out, like a lot of the press he did for it, because I think he was on some show where he did, maybe Conan, and he did like the 50 states like accents
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
It was,
good.
yeah. He's so just good at those accents too. Like
Yeah,
it's not only
yeah.
funny, but he's genuinely like impressive how he can
Hmm.
pull that off. Yeah. Nice. All right. Okay, the next one I'll do is Waiting for Guffman, the Christopher Guest directed movie. Do you know about Waiting for Guffman at all?
I don't.
So it's a mockumentary with a lot of the pretty much all the same people that are in like the other Christopher Guest movies, like Spinal Tap and Best in Show.
Okay, okay.
Um,
I thought Spinal Tap was Rob Reiner.
Rob Reiner directed it, but I think
You.
Christopher Guest was in it, and I think he wrote it too.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha. And
Um,
then so he continued to do like Spinal Tap, like mockumentary stuff after that.
yeah, so after Spinal Tap, he's directed quite a few mockumentary style movies. Now, Best in Show, Waiting for Guffman, A Mighty Wind, Mascots. It stars a lot of those same people, like those same like Canadian comedic actors like Fred Willard, Eugene. Well, I think Fred Willard's American, but anyway, Catherine O'Hara, Eugene Levy, who are like huge right now because of Schitt's Creek.
Hmm.
Is
Yeah.
super popular. So yeah, it's a lot of the same people that were are involved in Best in Show, or it also has Larry Miller, Parker Posey, David Cross, Bob Odenkirk, Brian Doyle Murray. So yeah, it's got a good cast too, and it's pretty funny. It's definitely very dry. Didn't like it as much as Best in Show and Spinal Tap, as far as these mockumentaries go, but still really funny. And it's just of this small town, and they're celebrating like their 150th anniversary, and Christopher Guest is this guy who's very into Broadway in the town, and he wants to put on a play for it. And so it's a bit heartwarming too, because it's Christopher Guest getting together this group of people from the town who want to be like acting and stuff, and they're like they're like a dentist or something, and I think Eugene Levy's a dentist, but he always wanted to be an actor, and so even though he's middle-aged, he's like, this might be my break, and really it's just like a local production of a play.
Yeah.
So it's like it's really funny, and I think some of my favorite parts of it were just like the talking heads from Eugene Levy and Fred Willard and Catherine O'Hara. They're all super funny.
Yeah.
And like the little town, just the quirky characters in it, was really funny and everything. So
Yeah, I should really watch this.
yeah, no, I think you'd like it. I liked it overall. It's yeah, it's just not as memorable to me as something like Spinal Tap, but still pretty funny. Yeah, and
Spinal Tap is
funny
definitely
people.
a movie I need to rewatch.
That's a great one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that's Waiting for Guffman. I think that's on HBO Max. Yeah, a lot of
Nice.
HBO Max in here. Yeah.
Well, I will also be bringing up an HBO Max movie. And I'm passing up over other HBO Max movies I watched to talk about this HBO Max movie.
Wow.
So we're going to, since the last feature I brought up was in the 30s, we're going to stay in the 30s here. 1938, I watched The Adventures of Robin Hood. This one's directed by Michael Curtiz and William Cayley or Kiley, probably Cayley.
Sure.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, works for me.
So I really haven't seen any Robin Hood movies. I don't know about you.
I've only seen, well, actually, I've seen the Disney animated one, and I've seen the Mel Brooks Men in Tights.
Yeah.
So none of like the real story of Robin Hood ones. Disney and Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a single one, and I actually grew up with this Robin Hood book as a kid.
Really?
That I read it all the time. It was like one of my favorite books. And the only reason why I watched this is honestly because I saw my brother watched it and said it was amazing. Said it was great, and I never ever think to watch a Robin Hood movie.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But like when I watched this, it kind of reminded me of just all the like joy I had reading that book as a kid all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it really brought out like, I don't know, just how I pictured Robin Hood in my head. Like it just brought that out very well. Like there's just such a fun, like joyfulness in this movie. And it's very like silly and funny, but also like, heroic in a way. And I feel like it's only able to do that and pull off this tone just because it's like it's in the 30s, and they kind of specialized in doing stuff like this back then. Like I think if you're into this, like if you're into movies from the 30s already or the 40s even, you'll like this a lot. But like for people today, it definitely doesn't age, obviously, because people don't want to watch a movie from no one our age wants to watch the 30s Adventures of Robin Hood, right? But like I I like, for instance, John, I think you would really think this is great and enjoy this, like, because yeah, it's very well done and it's just a good time.
Cool. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
definitely gonna check it out. I've seen it. Yeah, I saw that you watched it on Letterboxd, and I've seen like just like the image of it on HBO Max and been
yeah,
intrigued. It looks like it'd be a fun classic movie, like adventure movie.
yeah, oh yeah, it's just like one of those where you're like, all right, that was just perfect, you know?
Yeah, I think I don't know. There's other Robin Hood movies that I haven't really been interested in seeing. I think there's one
Yeah,
with Kevin Costner, which
there's
maybe it's
there
good. I don't know anything
there's a Ridley Scott one with Russell Crowe in 2010, which looks
Oh,
just
yeah.
it looks just super dark, which is ridiculous for Robin Hood. That's the thing, is like the 38 Michael Curtiz Adventures of Robin Hood is not like, it's not like dark at all. It's like
Hmm.
very much fits the setting of like where Robin Hood's in like England in like a beautiful forest, and they like have feasts, and they like go to jousts, and like they rob like lords and stuff like that who are greedy, and like it's just like very fun vibes. They're like drinking ale all the time and stuff like that, and they there's a lot of sword fights and arrow
Yeah.
contests.
Now we're talking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. That sounds fun. Okay, the next one that I'll go over it with is one that I know you've seen because we have briefly texted about it. But Paris, Texas. I finally
Oh
saw.
yes.
Wim Wenders, the German
Hmm.
director, and wow, this movie was something else. I'd heard great things about it. I think we talked about it maybe on a podcast before when you saw it and
Yeah, I think I was like
recommended it.
telling you to watch it.
Yeah, this we're coming full circle. There's a couple D.A. Pennebaker and now Paris, Texas that you recommended to me, and I finally
Yeah,
got.
finally made it.
Yeah, like a year later. All right. Yeah, but wow, Paris, Texas really I don't know, it had an effect on me, and it's almost one
Yeah,
I
hits you right in the head emotionally.
yeah. And it's one where I almost don't have much to say about, like, I don't know, trying to dissect everything that goes on, but that it really made me feel stuff. And
Yeah.
especially I was blown away by the scenes where to watch him talk to what's her name? Klaus Kinski's daughter, Jane,
Hmm.
through like the mirror, or like, and I thought that was such like a brilliant way to for this character to sort of comfortably just explain himself and sort of almost like a therapy session,
Hmm.
get out what he
Yeah.
needed to get out. And it was,
Yeah.
I mean, those scenes were just like,
Yeah, that image comes up on my like Instagram account a lot because I just have movie stuff comes up all the time. Just like, yeah,
uh-huh,
that the mirror shot and like the
yeah,
reverse of it. Yeah, it's just like one of the best things in film.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know too much else to say about it, but definitely one of the movies that's made me feel something like emotionally in a while.
Yeah.
Timeless stuff. Yeah,
Mm.
it's good. Yeah,
Yeah, Wim Wenders, I really want to just go down all of them because I've only seen like a couple.
yeah. That's another director to get into. Yeah,
Yeah, John Waters, Wim Wenders.
yeah.
um, yeah, what else was it gonna? Oh, also like cinematographer Robbie Mueller
Oh, yeah. It
is
looks
amazing.
beautiful.
Yeah, and I also like I really like the movie Down by Law, and he was the cinematographer of that movie.
Wow.
Yeah, and on my Criterion, there's like a whole like interview with him and stuff. So yeah,
Oh,
that's
nice.
like like I'm really not good at it. I try to like learn cinematographers, like I know a good amount, but uh like Robbie Mueller is definitely one of the first ones where I've like genuinely been like, oh yeah, I'm a fan of Robbie Mueller,
Nice.
and
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
mean it.
Yeah, it looks beautiful too. Oh yeah, just like the color schemes in some shots, just
Hmm.
these in the very beginning when he's walking around and he's just wearing that red
Yeah,
hat
and
and
the
just
yeah,
the
yeah.
landscape.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that opening always gets you just right into it. Like you
yeah,
just know you're getting into something amazing.
yeah. It's one that I had to it sat with me for a while. I had
Hmm.
to
Yeah,
take it
it
in.
really is just like one of the best films, probably.
Yeah, it really is. Good stuff.
So next, I'm gonna knock out three films
Oh
in
yeah.
one.
All right.
We are staying in the 30s, and we're
Living in the
going with
past.
yeah, and we're going with a podcast director that we have talked about a lot. Um, there is a collection on the Criterion Channel called British Hitchcock, and I've been delving
Oh.
into it. I watched Sabotage, which is 1936, Young and Innocent, which is 1937, and The Man Who Knew Too Much, which is 1934. The first Man Who Knew Too Much.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and I had a good time with all these. I've been trying to
Nice.
watch just like more older introductory Hitchcock,
Mm-hmm.
and just I really want to see all of them
Yeah.
one day. Um, and like I feel like just British Hitchcock is a great like introductory level of Hitchcock because he hasn't even made it to Hollywood yet.
Yeah.
Apparently, I guess that is what that means because you don't see any of those studio logos come up. You see a logo that you don't even know.
Yeah. Yeah. There's not
Um,
James Stewart in it, and
yeah, it doesn't have the powerhouse, just every powerhouse actor in all of them.
yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and what you really see him developing, just like his like craft in these movies too, and like for storytelling and just cinematic entertainment that he was able and tension that he was able to just uh, become arguably the greatest director ever with after that. So they're definitely worth watching, even though they're not as like just not as like great necessarily.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're a lot they're
Much
more
smaller scale.
down, a lot more
Yeah.
basic. But like if you really just appreciate like filmmaking, they're just worth watching just to like watch him figuring it out and kind of just inventing the medium in a way. So it's really crazy for that aspect. And you can make an argument that some of these stories feel small, but they're for the time they're pretty significant how like just how they're told and stuff like that. And so yeah, I highly recommend them. I want to watch the rest of the British Hitchcock collection
Nice.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, I think my favorite was The Man Who Knew Too Much. Out of all these, I thought it was just very well done.
Nice. I've seen The Man Who Knew Too Much in Sabotage. Haven't seen what is it, Young and Innocent?
Yeah, Young and
Okay.
Innocent. Yeah,
Yeah, I liked both of those and more than I thought I would for, how
yeah,
early they were too. Yeah.
and a best part of them, they're like an hour 10, hour 20. They're
Yes.
not none of them
Yeah.
are long, so they're very quick, just like pieces of entertainment.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, now you're making me want to watch some more Hitchcock
Well, you
stuff
can
too.
just
Yeah.
like you can just like rattle one off at any time. That's what's great about the Hitchcock collection on the
Yeah.
Criterion Channel.
Yeah. And
Yeah, you're not watching a 3 hour, Tarkovsky movie or some shit like that. You're just watching a, quick, nice and easy,
easy to digest. Yeah.
entertaining movie. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now the next ones for me, I'll knock out two as well because they're similar. We've talked about one of these recently too. But two movies in that potentially in the same universe. They came out back to back years, 2010, 2011. It's Going the Distance and Horrible Bosses. And these are both movies where Charlie Day and Jason Sudeikis play like the
are
two
the friends?
friends. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Horrible Bosses definitely, it's not a rom-com, but It's just a com, but it has Jason Bateman and then his two friends, Jason Sudeikis and Charlie Day, and then the year before, it was Justin Long and his two friends, Jason Sudeikis and Charlie Day. Yeah, but these are some comedies from back when we were in high school that I mean, I really loved Horrible Bosses when it came out. And still think it's funny.
Yeah.
I still think it's a solid comedy. There's some things that I don't think are as funny now as they were 10 years ago, but Going the Distance we talked about a little bit too. Fun rom-com. Justin Long, he's like, of course, has like the coolest job. He works at a record label and he just goes and he just watches bands all day. And it's like in high school, I was like, oh my God, like being an adult is awesome. You can just work at a record label and
that's
everything.
what I'll still do. I'll watch rom-coms and I'll be like, this is what I'll be like in my 30s. I will have a good job and a nice apartment, and I will, eat ice cream and drink because of my breakup, shit like that. Like adult problems.
Yeah.
Adulthood doesn't look that bad.
I'll just go to the bar, grab a beer with my bros. We'll talk about lady issues, and then I'll go to my job where I just listen to bands.
My girlfriend lives in San Francisco. It's too much distance.
And then if she's of course some hotshot journalist too. They just have these very like seemingly as a person in high school seemingly attainable things, but I mean, they're enjoyable movies. Liked them. Horrible Bosses, still funny. Yeah.
Horrible Bosses, like I remember seeing it maybe not opening night, but I remember seeing it at the Yorktown AMC with some friends, and it being such a big deal.
Oh yeah, it was big at the time for sure.
Great theater experience. I remember it was packed, and like Jamie Foxx was going like, "Motherfucker Jones," and the whole theater just erupted during that scene.
There's definitely a lot of quotes I noticed that I remember just people saying back after it came out, that I forgot about until now. But there's even a sequel. I forgot that there's a Horrible Bosses 2.
I think I may have tried or thought about watching it one time, but I never did.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, and Going the Distance I didn't see till last year, on the other hand.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is solid. Solid flick.
That's a
good duo.
That's all I got to say about those, but yeah. They could be in the same cinematic universe. Jason Sudeikis and Charlie Day, yeah.
Right. It's weird. I wonder if that's coincidence, or if like their agents worked it out, or a producer worked it out, or some.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's too much of a coincidence, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. Because it would be different if they came out 5 or 6 years apart, but they were literally back-to-back years. Probably two back-to-back movies that they did. So yeah, weird coincidence if it were a coincidence.
All right, so then I'm gonna do another two movie duo here.
All right.
So we're past when I had COVID. What was the last movie I did? Oh, the Hitchcocks. Okay.
Hitchcocks, yep.
So we've gone past to when I have COVID. This is me a couple weeks ago, and I'm all better now. You know what I mean? I'm watching movies normally now with full energy and full use of all my my brain and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I just got on this giant 90s run. I just wanted, for some reason, every movie I was watching was a movie I'd seen before, from the 90s. And it's such a good time because there's so many good 90s movies. Really are. And one of a couple that I watched fit together very well. Because they're two Keanu Reeves 90s action movies, Point Break and Speed. Both that I'd seen before, once, and really liked, and on like rewatch for both of them, I just thought were absolutely amazing, and just
Nice.
had the most fun time. Arguably the two most fun times I've watched a movie, definitely in 2021, I think. Those are the two most fun movie watching experiences I've
Wow.
had, but still, like in a while, like that's the most fun
Mm,
I've had watching movies. They're just both they're both so great. They're so like different, but also like unique in their own way. But also just like I had the best time watching Point Break. I couldn't think of a, I was like, oh, how am I going to be able to, top that? I know there's fun action movies, but like none of them will be as good as Point Break. And I was like, all right, we'll watch Speed then. Um, and and I knew Speed was good. I knew I was going to like it again, but
mhm.
I didn't think it would compare to Point Break. But Speed is, just in its own way, like one of the most exhilarating films like ever, and it was so great in its own way. So I was like, oh, whoa, now Speed is great. Whoa. And so it was just such a good duo. I highly recommend if you ever have the time to watch both of those
God,
both those movies,
that sounds like a
because
great double feature. Yeah.
yeah, it was phenomenal. Yeah, like Point Break, for instance, has so much things about it that I forgot. Like it's an incredibly well directed movie, and like the footage of just like the surfing and the waves is like incredible.
Hmm.
It's amazing footage.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and it's also like hilarious. Like it's absolutely hilarious. Yeah, I was laughing nonstop.
Yeah. I love Point Break. That it's fun to go back to see how, like this kind of star that Keanu was
Yeah,
back in
and
those
he like his
days.
name's Johnny Utah, and he was a quarterback at Ohio State, and like he's talking to Gary Busey all the time, and Gary Busey literally made me laugh in every scene, literally
Yeah.
every scene.
Back in the days when Gary Busey was like actually an actor and not just some like caricature that he is now.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
whatever he became, but
Yeah.
yes, yeah, amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, and Speed is just Keanu's like even more of like an established guy at the time, and Speed really made me like put him and like Tom Cruise in like the same, like I was like, okay, so wait a minute, Keanu's actually kind of like Tom Cruise because he's incredible in this movie. You know what I mean? And it was great to just watch him face off with Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper goes full like off the walls. That moments like just yelling and running after Keanu, and he's a maniac in it. He's blowing up like so much shit. He blows up like a bus and
I,
it
c-
just
I can
burns on the street.
I can see Dennis
Um,
Hopper
and
being
then
the
he
maniac.
and then Keanu, he's talking on the phone to Keanu, and he's just like, "You just gotta worry about the boss." And it's just so great. Like they just don't they don't make action movies like Speed and Point Break anymore. They really don't, and they never
Man,
will.
let's see. Okay, the next one I'll go with is a new movie, which is the talk of the town right now. It's on HBO Max. Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah,
Uh,
we gotta watch that.
just watched a few days ago. Yeah, still early 2021, so still plenty of time to watch this. But yeah, it's a great movie, and also starring
I've heard.
three of probably like some of the most um I would say sought after actors working
Yeah,
today. Lakeith Stanfield, Daniel Kaluuya, and Jesse Plemons. You know, it's
yeah,
really the three of them are really the forefront of this movie, and
yeah.
they're all amazing in
Mm.
this. Especially, this isn't to diminish Lakeith Stanfield or Jesse Plemons, who are obviously incredible in this, but Daniel Kaluuya was on another level, and
Ooh.
it's almost like the whole movie was great, but his scenes specifically, I was so much more just engrossed by everything because he's just such a powerful character, and
Hmm.
he's I mean, even in the trailer, you can see like, wow, like, yeah, this is something else. And I didn't know it's like so terrible that I didn't really know anything about this story. Never heard of
Hmm.
Fred Hampton before. And so I mean, I think this movie's coming out at like a really great time.
Hmm.
And when I feel like there's more and more things about Black history in the U.S. that we're finally learning about that we
Hmm.
weren't taught in school. So yeah, it's really really important movie, and also just overall a really well done movie too. If it wasn't on a real true subject matter, it'd still be just a really powerful movie. Yeah, yeah, a lot of good things to say.
Yeah,
Good.
I really got to get to this.
Mhm. Yeah.
Stop watching 90s movies.
Enough about speed. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like I realize I'm just so not as good. Like I definitely I believe I watch more movies than most people,
For
but
sure. Yeah.
I'm really not. Yeah, as we talk about this, I'm really not good at watching new movies.
I'm kind of the same way. When a new movie comes out, I almost feel like I've already got hundreds of other movies that I'm trying to watch that
Yeah,
I kind of put it off since it's new. Like I've
yeah,
got time, I'll get to it. So yeah. This one we just were wanting to see. There's a lot of buzz about it. So
yeah. No,
yeah.
yeah, and I'm sure I'll love it too.
Yeah.
And I love all those guys, and I want to see it, but I can't. Can't bring myself to do it.
Yeah.
Probably, I don't know, probably tomorrow after
Nice.
work I'll watch it.
Nice.
All right, my next movie is also on HBO Max, and I think we were like, I don't know if you remember this, but I remember one time when we were trying to pick movies on HBO Max, we thought, hey, what about this one? But it was also out of like 20.
Yeah, yeah. It was a growing
So
list. Yeah.
yeah, but it's the original, not the original, but Richard Donner's 1978 Superman.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think we
Superman. Yeah.
said, "Oh, do you want to watch Superman?" Oh, yeah, I'll watch
I'd watch
Superman.
Superman. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Which I think this is probably like the most well-regarded Superman.
Probably. I'm not too knowledgeable about Superman, but I feel like
Me neither.
these I feel like
This is the
these
one
were
I
the
hear
movies that
about.
made
Yeah,
him big. Yeah.
yeah, and I think like all the Christopher Reeves like Supermans were like, yeah,
Yeah.
what the reason why they wanted to make like a Man of Steel was because Superman was, successful before. It's like
Right.
90s Batman to like Nolan's Batman sort of deal.
Definitely. Yeah. Mhm.
Um and I think we talked about like Superman on our last episode because we talked about DC a little bit, and I think I
Yeah.
mentioned that I kind of like Man of Steel a little bit, blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
I'm not really like I'm not that into Superman. you know, I'm just not. But like I thought, I just thought this was something I wanted to see. It has like a crazy cast, and I also just found myself interested and thought I would, it'd be a fun thing to watch. And it was a lot of fun. Like I said, like how Robin Hood kind of works in the 30s.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like Superman works in like the late 70s, you know?
Nice.
um, and so like it's kind of like the silliness of that. And the fact that Christopher Reeves is just kind of really good in it and good in this of just like playing the corny "I'm Superman" thing, but also being like he kind of switches to Clark Kent like pretty well in this. Like even though there's that running bid where it's like how do these like the journalists don't know that
Oh
this
yeah.
is Clark Kent, blah blah blah. But like it's kind of personality wise, he plays a very good contrast to Superman. Like he's not glowing like Superman is. He's like really sleazy and like lacks confidence and just is like the weirdest guy ever because he's like Superman. He doesn't know how to function in society, you know, as a
Yeah.
regular person. So it kind of works off that. I would say the best part of this movie is Marlon Brando, even though he's only in two scenes.
Isn't
He
he his
played
dad?
he's his dad. Uh, his, Jor-El.
Jor-El.
So he's in the beginning of the movie where they're like deciding we have to get rid of him and send him to Earth. You know, blah blah blah. Like, you know, that whole scene. And it's like a typical like Superman origin story, such as like the Spider-Man being Peter Parker being bit by the spider.
Yeah.
So Marlon Brando's in that scene, and then he's in the scene where like Superman discovers the Fortress of Solitude, and then there's like a hologram of Marlon Brando's face pops up. He's like, "You are my son. You will do incredible things." And then like the John Williams score kicks in, and it goes like da 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 da
Oh,
da, and then
great
Superman
score. Yeah.
oh, it is. It's such a classic. Yeah, and so then Superman takes off and saves the world, and it's pretty much that simple. But like when Marlon Brando's in this movie, and he's like, it's just weird seeing him after like, you know, we watched, for instance, like Last Tango in Paris with him, you know, shit like that.
Yeah.
Seeing him in a movie like this, which is like just a very mainstream superhero movie. And the acting isn't so method, it's a lot more basic movie acting. He was still just so incredible in every scene he was in. Like just his voice and demeanor worked perfectly for like someone like a higher being from another planet, you know. And there's specifically a monologue where like it's just the hologram of Brando talking to Superman about how he's like, you know, he'll use his powers to do great things and, you know, be the guard of Earth, blah. And it kind of like, it gets like really trippy as it goes. You go into space, all these stars are flying past you, and there's just the voiceover of Brando talking to his son. And at that moment, I was just like, holy shit, this is great. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, definitely the best part of the movie is Brando. But overall, highly recommend Superman.
Cool. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think there was a lot of hype in this, like around this movie for a while, and I understand.
Yeah, you know, I haven't seen any of these original Superman movies, but I remember as a kid when Christopher Reeve died, and I remember that being a big deal. Like I remember hearing about like, oh, the guy who played Superman died, and everyone was talking about it
Yeah,
at the time. So
yeah.
yeah, I really don't know much about Superman. I've only seen Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman, I think, and then I mean I watched Justice League growing up, but
hmm
yeah, and then Gene Hackman plays Lex Luthor.
Yeah, yeah. So he's good. Yeah,
Wow, dang,
and
nice.
also his the like not his actual dad, you know, his other dad, like I don't know, his adopted father is played by uh Glenn Ford, who's also a
Oh,
legendary actor. So it's like
yeah.
people just pop up.
Dang, that's crazy. Yeah, that I'm sure that was huge back in the day. Yeah.
hmm Yeah,
Nice.
it's funny. He's only in like a couple scenes, like Brando, but he kills them both.
Yeah, I've seen just like the still of Brando with his like his white hair and like the
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
costume and everything. Yeah.
yeah. And it's good. It's funny as hell because it's a movie you never would think he would do, but he's in it,
Yeah.
and it works because he's so great. You know,
Yeah.
he adds to the epic quality of it. Like, you know, him and John Williams' score and yeah, I got into it.
Nice. Okay. Next one for me is I finally watched Scorsese's Cape Fear.
Oh, okay.
De
That's one I
Niro,
haven't
Nick
seen in a
Nolte.
while.
Yeah, this one I just always forget. I remember seeing Cape Fear, on streaming services and everything, but I always forget that it's a Scorsese movie for some reason. But yeah, I really liked Cape Fear. It's really felt like a genuine horror movie, which was cool to see from Scorsese. De Niro, just really crazy, insane,
Different role.
criminally insane guy. Yeah, definitely
Mhm.
different for him. And yeah, it's some parts of it are funny too. Just I don't know, Nick Nolte getting really
Yeah.
flustered and just like
Mhm.
paranoid about everything.
Yeah.
Those are kind of funny, but also I still liked Nick Nolte in this and everything. But yeah, really really good, solid movie. I feel like I understand some more cultural references that I've seen before too.
Yeah.
Like the Simpsons episode.
So yeah,
Cape
for
Fear.
years that's all I had seen was the Sideshow Bob Simpsons
Yeah.
version, and that's all I was thinking about when watching this.
Yeah, so
When
much of
I
it makes
first
sense.
when I first saw it, I was like, oh yeah, they were doing they're making fun of this and that. Okay,
Yeah. He's like,
yeah.
no, I get
But
it.
there's
Yeah.
some about it, like the way Simpsons like kind of rips movies off like that kind of put even if you haven't seen the movie, it just like it puts those moments stay stuck in your head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Simpsons, that's a great episode of The Simpsons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um
Incredible episode.
yeah. And yeah, I really liked Cape Fear too. The climax of the movie, the boat and everything, it's a Scorsese movie, you gotta see as many of those as you can. So glad I finally saw Cape Fear. Yeah, to go along with
Nice.
my
No,
Bob Dylan documentaries.
I'm all about trying to see as many Martin Scorsese movies as you can.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
There you have it. Yeah. That's how Luke survived COVID.
and how been surviving life.
Yes. Yeah,
I
still
work I
here.
work in retail. It's very boring, so I stimulate with 2 Keanu Reeves movies and 30s Hitchcock and Robin Hood.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. You definitely utilize that HBO Max subscription
Oh, for
during the
sure.
time, which if you've got COVID quarantine and you're relatively healthy, you don't have to go to the hospital, God forbid, then yeah, it's a good time to stream as many
Just
HBO
stay
Max movies as you
home and
can.
watch movies.
Yeah. And even if you're just perfectly healthy and okay,
Yeah. You should stay home and watch movies
Yeah.
because even though the vaccine's coming out, we should still be smart.